Alrighty. It's like my one day. It's like the other time of week. I got 2 days. I got 2 4-hour periods scheduled each week that are specifically designated for video game time. Like I had to schedule in fun. Like, remember to go have fun. I absolutely had to do that because I'm having a lot of fun writing political papers. What I'm not having a lot of fun doing is writing political papers and then having to deal with people that don't want to read. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. If you want to understand the Constitution, you've got to do some background reading. It's like the Constitution wasn't designed as a document for the people. The Constitution was designed as a document for the government. So people are like, well, my freedom of this or my freedom of that. No, great. I'm happy for you. Shut up. Also, I do want to say this new production schedule that I have really, really helps. My story on Ashes of Creation for tomorrow is already done. It's been done. It's been written. It's been reviewed by some peers. The video's been reviewed by some peers. That's where I want to get to. I want to get to where I can talk to people about the content I'm making. I have been doing an experiment with Kick lately. I may end that experience. Kick has not Kick. TikTok. TikTok has some new rules about you can't use TikTok to promote yourself on any other platform, which I think is incredibly dumb and short-sighted on TikTok's part, because if I can't use my TikTok to drive people to my Substack so that they can read my political writings, then I don't want to make TikToks. I make TikToks as basically talking points, like where do we start? Where do we go from here? But if I'm going to be restricted to where I can't drive people to other platforms, then in all honesty, there's no value for me in that at all. No, Ashes of Creation, I wouldn't have streamed today anyway, because they know they were given a fair chance to respond to the video that's coming out tomorrow. In fact, let me check my email real quick. They were told that I have a story coming out, and after Steven's meltdown last night, I highly doubt that I'm going to get an apology. But they were given an opportunity to respond. And it doesn't look like they have exercised that option. Yeah, so yeah, new vid tomorrow. And the truth is, I probably have enough. Yeah, Steven had a total meltdown on his Discord last night. It's funny, Frost. Remember when like all of Paradox went there years ago because we were interested in the game, and then most of the community got mistreated, so they just left the Discord, which was bad because a lot of those people were $500 pack owners, and they got completely shit on by the community just for having a difference of opinion. Well, now Steven is getting shit on because people don't care about his opinion. He's the fucking creative director of the game. Steven decided to he decided to start accusing people. Like, Steven's always tried to do this thing where he claps back, right? And he tries to clap back against people. Like, Steven last night accused people of Dunning-Kruger, where they don't have enough experience, they don't have enough knowledge to actually be talking about all the mistakes that he's making. But the problem is, Steven, you've either released 0 games or 1 game. If you've released 0 games, then you can't cite Dunning-Kruger, because Dunning-Kruger is a cognitive bias when people of low ability, knowledge, or expertise overestimate their competence. Well, the problem is if you have 0 games released, you should never ever be arguing from expert level, because that comes off as illusory superiority, or overconfidence bias. And then you want people to listen to you because you're the head of Intrepid Studios, but the only claim of expertise Steven Sharif has is that he's the CEO of Intrepid Studios. Yeah, he's a novice quoting an expert opinion. Still makes you a novice. What's even worse is if you count Apocalypse as a game launch, because they called it a game and a testing environment, and most experts in the industry agree, if you put a battle pass in it and you monetize it, it's a product, not a testing environment. Well, so then you're a developer whose only game you've ever launched was a complete and monumental total failure, but you accuse people of armchair development. But you notice that he won't say shit like that to me. He'll say it to other people. He won't say that shit to me. He won't say it to my face, because then I'll look at him and say, well, congratulations, little bitch. Let's play big bank, take little bank. I ran a fucking global enterprise of $4 billion. I wouldn't be fumble fucking around the way you do. Steven's the one who decided to not hire project managers early on in the development. So Steven likes to take shots at people, but he won't say that shit to me, because then he'll get completely fucking clapped on. You shouldn't talk like... If Steven's gonna constantly say to people, if you're frustrated, take a break. If you're frustrated, take a break. Then take your own advice. Seriously, take your own advice. If you're this frustrated with people, take a break. Like, take a break off your Discord. Go dark. Look at what Chrono Studio did. Chrono Studio, chef's kiss. Chrono Studios knows that what they developed was not loved by the player base. So what Chrono Studio do? They said, you know what, guys? We're gonna take all the feedback that you gave us. We're gonna go develop. And then fucking crickets, man. Crickets. We don't know what they're changing. We don't know what their plan is. And that's good. We don't need to know every single thing. We don't need to know we don't need to know that you played Magic today. We don't need to know what's broken. We don't need to know what you planned on fixing. All we need to know is, like fucking Braveheart, man, is it ready? Not the now. Maybe later. Oh, not the now? Cool, got it. Hey guys, it's not the now. There was one person yesterday on a YouTube video that I made said Ashes of Creation is some bullshit, like Ashes of Creation has the most player interaction of any game, including those on the market. Fuck right off. Okay? Fuck all the way off. Go to fuck off the edge of fuck off pier and keep swimming. Ashes of Creation has more player interaction than any other MMO on the market. May I present to you EVE Online, where 98% of the game is fucking player interactions. Like, holy fuck, man. May I present to you ArcAge, the game that you're trying to rip off, and you're not even doing a good job of it. Holy fuck, the Nintendo thing? Okay, first of all, that's a great question. Let me look up something real quick. The Nintendo thing is... Okay. The Nintendo... People are going really weird with the Nintendo patent. A system involving summoning a character to automatically battle in the player's virtual space. While the patent describes a mechanic similar to auto-battling found in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, it is more specific and applies to a system where a player summons a character to battle an enemy, either automatically or in response to a player's input. This is a dangerous one because as you excuse me, as you've heard me talk about many times, when a company has a patent or a trademark or a copyright, they have to defend it. Okay, hold on, let me cook for a second. Let me cook. So when you have because I deal in IP with PGN Music, when you have a copyright, a trademark, or a patent, you have to aggressively protect it. The moment that you don't aggressively protect it, pretty soon you can't use that. Like, why you hear Google all the time say, Google executives, Google people will say you didn't Google that, you looked it up on a search engine. Because Google does not want it to become common vernacular for doing a internet search. Like, if you Googled it, they always say, you can only say I Googled it if you used Google. If you used any other search engine, then you ran a search engine search. And this is really important because if you allow that to become the standard, then pretty soon I can say my search engine is the Google's. And when Google sues me, I'll be like, because you've made no attempt publicly to stop people from saying an internet search is a Google search. Now, when you look at this, I just realized I don't have a background for when I'm playing video games. If I do search, I'll need to fix that. Is that Chrome? Yeah. So when you look at this patent, the dangerous part about a patent is once you have a patent on something, nobody else can use it. But you'll notice right here, they were very specific, right? They were very specific in what their patent is claiming. They're claiming this right here. When you come down and you look at it further, they are very specific in what if you read it and you make a similar game? Doesn't fucking matter. They have a patent on it. And that applies in most countries because most countries enforce the Madrid protocols. So what you see here is they've been very specific about their patent. Their diagrams are very specific. And here's the piece, because I've looked at this one other time. Here's the piece that there, and its motion of throwing ball. Those two pieces right there pretty much mean necromancers in games aren't going to be gotten rid of because you don't have a throwing motion. Now other games might have to make sure that you don't throw your battle pet. But yeah, the patent is pretty... A quick look at the patent makes it look like now Nintendo has a patent on all summonable creatures, but they don't. That's why you're not seeing any lawsuits pop up now from Blizzard. Because Blizzard would be the first company to line up and say, we're going to sue you because you've literally you've made Warlock impossible. I think a lot of people were worried about it. Now, with that, am I in any way, shape, or form saying what Nintendo did was cool? No, it's not. What Nintendo did was fucking bullshit. What Nintendo did was absolutely fucking dog shit. You waited until a company had already launched their game. You waited until their game was already successful, and then you decided to sue the company. Well, that makes you look like fucking douchebags. Like if you see if a company's talking about a product that you're going to object to, then object to it. Literally if you see the company making something, contact them and say, hey, you know what, guys, we are going to object. We are going to take steps to say you're basically copying our game. Nintendo pissed because another company made Pokemon better. Ultimately, what they did was they made a better Pokemon version of Pokemon. Well, what are you fucking angry about? What are you upset about? Like, you're losing money? Okay, I get that. If they listened to their fans, they would have been way more successful. Hey, isn't that a big one? Isn't that a big one right off the bat? Maybe if these game companies would recognize listening to your fans is important. Well, why do I want to listen to the fans? Because the fans are telling you what they want. Like, the customer's always right about what they want to buy. So we need to get back to that idea. We need to get back to the idea around don't tell the customer they're wrong. Say to the customer, what is it precisely that you want to buy? In the Target building, yes it does. I got tired of living in a Hobbit shack. I'm really happy they fixed the... Oh, look at this motherfucker putting stairs on my fucking roof. But we're in a space right now where somebody's gonna have to sue Nintendo. Really makes me wonder if Nintendo can support itself if it loses hold on Pocket Monsters. You're right. Is Pokemon to Nintendo what Final Fantasy is to Square Enix? Is that the issue? Is the issue that they can't be successful without this singular IP? And it's an important one. You guys should try Heroes of Light and Magic. Yeah, they got Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda every 10 years or so. And truthfully, it's what kept them valid before the Switch. Right. And then if you think about it, Mario showed up in so many of the Wii games. Like, Wii Sports. It's a me, Mario. Which I later found out, it's not Isami, it's Isami is super in Japanese. The more you know. Cobblemon Pokemon that is a clone with names and likeness, I'd imagine they have a license that much of it. Well, the problem is a lot of companies don't have a license, and that's where we run into the really big problems. Is companies don't get licenses. Like Turtlehead didn't have a license for WoW, and now WoW is like, well, you're done with that shit, and they didn't have a license, so they're fucked. I think the video game industry is finally at the find out point. Yeah, Mario's used so much he's not even cool anymore. He's that fucking asshole who shows up and drinks up all your liquor. You're not wrong. This way. Unfortunately, that house that I built was a great design for if we were going to have to deal with world merges. Now they got rid of world merges, which I'm incredibly happy about. You have no idea how happy I am that world merges aren't a thing anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 5. This properly. So happy world merges are gone. And if you didn't see my YouTube video, which most of you didn't, because you come here to talk to me, not about Once Human, but I have a YouTube video out about season 2. I think, based on what I'm seeing as a content creator, I think Starry Studios might be in a rough patch right now, because they're not really... The new Lunar cycle is a repeat. Well, the new Visional Wheel is a repeat of the Lunar cycle. Now, I don't mind that it's a repeat, because it looks like they've added enough new content. And I want to be very, very specific on that. It does look like they've added enough new content. Would I say the video game industry is at the same point music is? There are only so many notes. It's going to be how you use them that matters. Absolutely. Let me say something on that, because you are 100%. EVE Online is a great example of this. EVE Online exists, and yet there's 2.5 million people that want to play Star Citizen. But EVE Online exists. And then people will say, well, I don't want to play EVE Online. I actually want to pilot my spaceship. And I'll say, okay, but Elite Dangerous exists. And so you're looking at a world where if you wanted to play in a spaceship, there's already 2 games that exist that do that. But there's enough interest in other games that other developers come in. Now, EVE Online, somebody made a really good video. It's the same thing I've said for years about EVE. EVE Online would probably get 1 million players if, and here's the big if they, and don't hate me, if they started a new server. Yeah, No Man's Sky, and then Starfield. So there's a lot of games that are very similar to what's already on the market, but people don't want those. People are hooked on a dream. They're hooked on the dream that is Star Citizen. I don't think Star Citizen is ever going to come out in the way people wanted it to. I don't think Ashes of Creation can ever come out the way they wanted it to. I mean, we already know Ashes of Creation isn't coming out the way they said it would. I mean, it's not like a wait and see thing. Like, you've already said you've changed the design scope. I need faster than Death Stranding loading for the game I want to make. Well, right here, there's the problem. If you have a game you want to make, you have to make it based on the hardware that exists today. You have to say to yourself, and this is where Intrepid Studios will fail. If EVE Online started a fresh server, you jump on it for sure. If EVE Online started a fresh server, I would be pilot 0001 on the server. Real talk, no doubt. No bullshit. I would be there. Because EVE Online is my jam. And now that my wife is, older and understands gaming, my wife would understand that because I like Aura, it doesn't mean I'm cheating on my wife with my AI guide. No, she would be okay with it. She would be okay with it because now we're in a different part of our life where, yeah, she would be fine with it now. She just wasn't fine with it when she didn't have hobbies. She didn't have hobbies. Now she has a whole fucking cricket lab, man. If EVE Online put up a new cluster, I would be there. Final Fantasy Tactics in 12 days. My whole family knows that that's where I'll be. I love that fucking game. That game, fucking amazing. You know what would be even more amazing? Well, I have my own gaming room now. She has her gaming room and office. My wife is spoiled. She has more Square footage. Yeah, Brandon, I'm streaming again. I cover this as often as I can. I do need to schedule more time to cover this. But no, tactics, my family knows, don't bother me. Is the house on fire? Is the cat on fire? No? Okay, leave me alone. I still haven't got my critical pulse to do the lightning thing, but I do have my biscuit. Okay, so your critical pulse is still not spreading the lightning, but you're picking up the orbs. Are you sure that it's not just you have your graphics turned down too low and and the effect is happening, you're just not seeing it? You've been thinking about going back to Once Human for the permanent servers? Yeah, let me tell you, I'm really excuse me. I'm really happy with the permanent server change now. The seasons, yeah, that stuff's gone now. You play on mobile, that's probably what it is. You're probably just not seeing the proc effect. No, Once Human, their biggest mistake, number one, well, they have two big mistakes. One of their biggest mistakes is their content creator program is straight jank. And I'm not trying to be mean to them, but they have too many people in their content creator program and they threw too much money at it. There is such a thing as throwing too much money at a problem. There absolutely is. Shit, I did this. Okay, well, it'll be fine. There is such a thing as throwing too much money at a problem. And it's pretty clear to me that the content creator programs, the content creators in the Once Human program, 90% of them don't understand the business side of being a content creator. I'd still be playing if I didn't have to start over every 6 weeks. Well, you don't have to do that now. Now, whatever scenario you're on, you can stay on forever if you want. And when I say forever, I mean forever, because they fixed the world merging thing. So yeah, if you like the game, you can always come back. And if you guys if you use that code when you come back, you'll get goodies. Doesn't get me anything tangible, but it gets you guys Starcrom and stuff, so goodies are good. It's not that way, it's this way. Yeah, it was so frustrating because every 6 weeks you're having to start over, and that sucks. Yeah, it gets very tiresome quickly. Like, you started working days 5 months ago, so I dropped 60 pounds and I have a fair bit more time for things. There you go. But yeah, Ral and I really only play like once a week to run our weeklies. But he and I both hate this gravity event. Starting on the 24th, when the Lunar event comes back, I'll probably be logging in a lot more to do that event. Yeah, I can't wait for this fucking moon jump shit to be gone. Exactly. Like when they have the Lunar event and they have the fucking darkness fucking thing, and you can fuck. Like, I think the best part about what they're bringing in is that the harder you work at doing your content, you can fuck with other people by sending harder content to them. That's cool as shit. That's absolutely cool as shit. Like, oh, so what you're saying is I can fuck up this person's day because I can send harder content to them. Oh, cool. I like it. Let me get on that shit right now. Uh, kind of. It won't destroy their bases. So no more seasonal wipes. Yeah, there are no more seasonal wipes. If you want to, once your season ends, if you want to stay on that server, you can feel free to stay on that server forever. Now, and here's the piece that people don't necessarily grasp. If you want to stay on Manibus forever, you can. But if they release a new scenario, like Endless Dream, you have to start over if you want to play the new content. If you don't want to play the new content, you're good to go. Which, because of everything being shared by all the characters, I don't particularly give a shit. If I want to, like, I hate Endless Dream. I think Endless Dream is a great concept. I think it's a great idea for a private server. But we went to Endless Dream and there's no reason to go. If there was blueprint fragments to be gotten, I would say, okay, there's a reason to go. But there's not. You don't get any more blueprint fragments from going to Endless Dream. Yeah, it'd be cool if they gave an item to spawn one of those clones in people's bases, not to destroy the base, just to teach them to lock their doors. Yeah, right? Why is this guy in my house? Why won't he leave? GMs, this guy won't leave. GM comes back. It's not even a person, man. It's a dummy. It's a mannequin. Fortunately, I think I made a mistake. Yeah. Oh, nope, we'll be good. Nope, I don't think we will be. It's possible. Oh, shit. I think I may have built this the wrong way. Yeah, I think I did. It's okay though. I had to get that floor clear anyway. I really wish that they had thought through better. Yeah, because I need 7 and I don't think I can go. Nope. Because that'll annoy me. All right, I'll have to swing that. I am really happy now though that there's not going to be any more world merging. Seriously, that was just getting on my very last nerve. It was almost getting me to the point. Well, I wasn't playing. Between the Sky event and the world merging, I was just like, fuck it, I'm not playing this game right now. Because if I kept playing it, what would have happened is I would have gotten so frustrated with it, I never would have come back. At least now, with the Lunar event coming in, I'll be coming back. And that event, I love the fact that they have the... No, you can't farm weapons and build mining platforms then send it to a high-level scenario. No. No. Each scenario is its own realm. Your blueprints go, your mods go, your weapon attachments go, your star crumb goes, but not stuff. No. You can't send tools. You can't send goodies, equipables to the new scenarios. Which is why Endless Dream has no value, because Endless Dream doesn't have blueprints on it. There's no point for me to go to Endless Dream unless I really like the content, which I don't. So there's no point in me going there. If there were blueprint fragments, I would suck it up and go there to get the blueprint fragments. But since there's not, why do I want to go to a scenario that I absolutely hate? Nope, there's no hacks. In fact, that's why they put Raid Zone on its own. That's why Raid Zone is its own client. because they want to make sure. And Rael, I saw your comment. I do think that Starry is getting a bit of a bad reputation, and that reputation is you use the money from Steam and the loading bay to fund the development of mobile, and it's not an unfair accusation because it really does look like that. Like, you're giving the PC client the bare minimum in updates, but you're focusing on Raid Zone, which is, in fairness to them, Raid Zone is the game they wanted to make in the first place. This game was designed to be like Rust, but then Chinese law, Article 14, I believe, is potentially going to pass, and then they were going to be stuck in a situation where they weren't going to really be able to market their game. PvP, and people need to remember, PvP and video games in general in China, video games in general in China are more regulated. And so China's like, we don't want non-consensual PvP. And some people would be like, well, doesn't their government have better things to do? And I wouldn't disagree with you if you asked that question. But it's the direction they've decided to go for their people. I wish there was a way to pick up, like, tag multiple items, like move multiple items at one time. That would be really slick. Like, I want to move all of you at one time. That would be helpful. I saw somebody posted for me, Throne and Liberty got player housing. Player housing is absolutely one of the smartest ideas to put into a game. Anybody that doesn't see, yeah, I got I talked about the Nintendo thing already during the show. The Nintendo thing is very specific, but it's because people get their gaming news from people that don't understand how patents work, that people are getting like, oh my god, no, Nintendo doesn't have a patent. Like, Blizzard isn't suddenly going to lose the ability to have necromancers in Diablo or warlocks in Warcraft. That's not what the patent is for. The patent is for a very specific type of combat. Destiny 2's mobile game got player housing before Destiny. Every MMO should have... Wait, but China had their biggest companies and ruined Game Atlas with their PvP. Well, hold on a second. I don't think Atlas was ruined, quote, by the PvP. I think Atlas was ruined because of the 100 people on a grid limitation. I wouldn't agree with you to say Atlas was ruined outright because there was PvP. I would say it was because you could throttle how many of your enemies could get onto the grid by keeping your grid full, and then only a trickle of them could come in at a time, so you'd kill them. That's a problem. For example, one thing I was thinking about with the inevitable problem with Ashes of Creation, with their grid... That's a little weird. Can I just say it's a little weird to me, Alex? Alex, can I say it's just a tad weird that you dropped into my chat and the first thing you did was see if I had a Discord? That's like really strange, man. Especially for an account that's only 17 days old. It's a little weird, Alex, don't you think? I mean, you haven't even said hi. Not even a follower of the channel, just instantly all about that Discord. Which is fine, man, because my Discord, you have to have permission to join my Discord anyway. That's a little weird, man. That's a little odd to me. That's like one of those. Yeah, at least wine and dine me before you try to join my server and fuck with it. My panels are broken. One of my panels is broken at least. I don't think I have these panels anymore. I don't have those panels anymore. Shit. Oh, well. I'm gonna make new panels anyway. Oh no, there it is. What's it doing? Yeah. But no, I had enough of that shit. People joining my Discord and causing problems because they know what time I sleep, so can't join my Discord without my permission. You get tagged at the top. It's basically like, what the fuck you want? It's like, it's weird too. Somebody messaged me from the Ashes of Creation Discord and they're like, did you get my message in game? And I'm like, oh, you poor bastard. If somebody took my, if some poor bastard, you took the name Jalan on a video game, that's a fucking bad idea. I remember the guy that stole my name in Arcade. He messaged me to apologize. He was like, dude, I took your username to fuck with you, and I didn't realize how many fucking PMs you get in a day. And this was on Unchained, where you couldn't change your username, and you couldn't even roll an alt. And I said, good luck with that, man. good fucking luck with that. Oh, yes. Ashes of Creation grids, thank you. So the problem with this magical dynamic gridding system that Steven keeps trying to portray, I've talked to dozens of engineers for Unreal Engine. Dozens of them. And what they've said is they don't understand what Intrepid is going to do. They're like, yeah, you're doing dynamic gridding, which is going to free you up of one problem, but it's not going to free you up of the other problem. So they're interested to know how, like many developers are interested to know how Intrepid Studios is going to solve the ultimate problem of these large fights, the way they're trying to do it. And people that have been working with Unreal Engine for 10 years. I mean, granted, Intrepid's team has just as much experience with Unreal Engine 5 as anybody else does, because Unreal Engine 5 came out, everybody kind of got it at the same time. But how are you going to solve the gridding problem? Dynamic gridding is great for caravans, absolutely. Trade ships, absolutely. Being able to offload, but even then, if your content is at a spot where you're going to have that many people showing up at this big content, dynamic gridding doesn't solve that problem for you. So how are you going to solve this problem, right? And that's what I think a lot of people want to know. how are you going to solve this problem? And I don't think Intrepid has an answer. EVE Online came up with a solution years ago for a gridding problem. That was time dilation. And then one of the other ways they came up with the solution to their problem was fleet warp. That way, everybody enters warp at the same time. So everybody ends up landing on the grid at the same time, so that there is no... There's no issue with people, the first 3 or 4 ships that land on grid straggle in, so they get insta-popped. And it still happens if you have somebody that warps in slightly off the pace, right? But Steven had a meltdown yesterday, and I don't honestly know what other word to use other than a meltdown. And I'm not trying to like insinuate any, I'm literally just a meltdown. Steven was pissed off and angry, and that's okay, because why is half 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Maybe a little pissed off and angry is exactly what you need on the project at the moment. But like one person said to him, and stupid shit people say, like, well, you have a team of 250 developers, so why don't you put everybody on fixing one problem and then move on to the next? Well, that person should be told, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. Because that's not how it works. I don't want the engineers doing art, and I don't want the artists doing engineering, thanks. I want the right people to work on the game. Why not just do it this way? So when people say shit like that, well, you have a team of 250 people. Well, first of all, I don't think Intrepid really has a team of 250 developers. I think Intrepid has a staff of 250 people. But I don't think Margaret, Crone, Roshan, Vaknar, Corey, I don't think those people are doing development work. So they're big team developers, but they're not developers. But he was absolutely right when he said that's not how it works. And a lot of people need to get, and I'll say this, a lot of people need to get off his nutsack in the things they say, because the things they say are ignorant as fuck. With that said, to tell people in Alpha 3 to continue being patient, Steven can't turn around and say shit like, well, you don't know. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You don't know either. And then it brings into question, should Steven even be the creative director? And if you're going to say, yes, he should be the creative director, then should Steven be the overall decision maker? And my answer to that is no, he should not. Because Steven is making a lot of decisions because he wants the game to look a certain way, but you're not adhering to things you said. And then when you get called out on that, what's the thing he likes to do? Steven gets called out on things and then he likes to deflect. Well, it's content creators who are masquerading the truth. Well, Bubba, that's why we're in the situation we're in the first place. Because if you accuse other people of masquerading the truth, you're doing a legal Potomac 2-step because you don't want to get your ass sued off. Well, not a good look. Don't talk shit. You already talk shit about Crowfall, Arcage, New World. From the start, Steven should have hired competent people that he pitches ideas to, and they take it from there, not him trying to do everything. Yes. One of the things that Steven said years ago is he didn't hire any producers in like the first 2 years. Well, what you didn't hire then is project managers. And you don't have the breadth of experience as a project manager yourself to plug that gap. You know that Christian Bale scene, why not, you son of a bitch? It's a great scene. It's an absolutely amazing scene for understanding the champion, the owner of the process, being told they can't do something. You can't do that. Well, why not, you son of a bitch? Well, you can't because there's rules, there's regulations, there's laws, there's funding. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough body. We don't have enough people. Like, what's going to end up biting Intrepid in the ass, either by me or I hope Steven just fucking apologizes for lumping me in with those other creators so I can fuck off and stop making Ashes content. Is that somebody's going to say, well, you haven't mentioned the 12-1 draw call in a long time. What's going on with that? Well, that's just going to be another embarrassment. Because I haven't seen the 12-1 draw call mentioned since before I left. Well, you wasted an awful lot of manpower. What was the end result of that? Did it work? Did it pay dividends? Did it create the overhead capacity that you needed? Like the guy that was in here the one weekend that I streamed and he was just being a fucking muppet about it. You're gonna tell me how great their dynamic gridding is. How many people were there? 200? Well, then they didn't show you dynamic gridding. If you only had 200 people there, a properly done Unreal Engine 5 grid should have 200 people on it. So what did they show you? But then Steven wants to yell at people about they don't know. Well, dude, I'm a project manager. I do know. I'll have the chat with you because I do know. I don't really like that layout. I really don't. I don't like how that looks. It's fine though. It's like I like Starry Studios. Or actually, let me back up. I like Chrono Studios. I think what the CEO of Chrono Studios did was a big baller move. Hey, we missed the mark. We're not even gonna tell you what we're working on. We're just gonna go work on more shit. We'll let you know when it's ready. That's that big baller shit right there. Like, no excuses. Oh no, the grid is fine. I just don't like how it looks with the three of them. I don't like how the three of them lay in together. No, you can put 2 rows of 7 below it. Oh, that might have been the other. Yeah, that 3576753 was it before they changed the sprinkler again. Like, fuck's sake, guys, stop touching the sprinkler. Leave it alone. Like, fucking knock that shit off. You're pissing me off. That's another thing they do, and it's just infuriating. They make little tiny changes, and there's no reason why. That thing that they did for the gardener, that tool they put in the garden, like, that thing's useless too. If you're a gardener, you should have this one thing in the middle of your garden that covers. It should cover like 7 in each direction, 7 up and 7 down, and then a big circle. Like, it should allow me to have close to 200 planter boxes being fed and lit and watered off of one thing. Also, as you can see, they couldn't make their load bearing capacity system work, so they abandoned it completely. I did notice one thing about their load bearing capacity system that was going to be broken from the beginning. It was going to make PvP at bases too easy, because you were going to be able to just destroy a couple of walls at a base, and then the base was going to fall. So I'm glad that they realized that they had a mistake. And You know, I think some game developers don't get it. Nobody's looking for a perfect game. Gamers are looking for anything. Does it run? Yes. You got my money. It's just been so, like, what was the last game that came out? I don't remember the order, but was it Baldur's Gate 3 and then Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty and then the Elden Ring expansion and then Wukong? You notice the last couple of big games haven't been MMOs. We haven't had a decent MMO. Dune wasn't amazing. Let me stop you right there. Dune wasn't amazing. I missed the launch of Dune because the early access launch was while I was taking my daughter to SeaWorld. And then the normal launch was I was away at a wedding. I only missed the normal launch by 5 days. By the time I got home, the people that I was going to link up with in Dune, they were like, yeah, guilds already have control of the game. Like, why was your game set up in such a way that guilds took it over? And then the melee combat was horrendous. You're not wrong. The melee combat was gross. And I'm not being mean and I'm not being harsh. The idea of Dune in its purest form was a great idea. Real talk. House Atreides versus House Harkonnen, with the Sardaukar as a potential AI swing if you're outmatched. Great. Awesome idea. The problem is you didn't develop up the minor houses. You created a political conflict game that didn't have all of the toys in the toy box that it needed to be a political conflict game. It needed the minor houses. It needed a whole level of if you think about Hearts of Iron, it needed a whole level of the top two factions. Yeah, you personally found. And that's the thing. You can say a game, you can think a game is enjoyable. But when its numbers fucking plummet, you have to look at why. Dune is a disappointment to me because Dune could have been fucking great. Dune could have been amazing. Dune could have been amazingly amazing, to quote Evilbrox. Dune could have been amazingly amazing. But the issue was, it came out without all the needed features, and then somebody didn't think to themselves, hey, you know what? What's the big problem that all faction-based games have? Oh, you mean that one guild becomes too powerful and then that faction becomes too powerful? Yeah, that. Yeah, Dune was great for the first 100 hours. I thought Dune had some really great ideas. One of the really great ideas was multiple bases. I think that is a radically overlooked idea in survival games. Multiple bases, so that I can always have a safe base to go back to. Or, since we're going to be multiple players, Arcade, for example. Remember we had the pit stop farm? If you were on your way somewhere and then you needed to you could unload, or the prices dropped or whatever. That's a great idea. I love it. Chef's kiss. Let's do more of that. See you on Tuesday. Let's do more of that. But faction-based game has to be balanced very, very well. And when a guild can own a zone for 1 week and then simply have more fucking refinement mats than they can even readily refine, well, now you've got a problem. And the problem is, how does a guild catch up? We always have to think about how is this game going to look in a month, 3 months, 6 months. We can't just worry about how a game looks at launch. Because if we do that, and again, far too many games only look at the game today, not 6 months from now. Look at ArcAge, for example. ArcAge was a great game. Amazing game. They didn't think about what the game was going to look like in a faction-based game when large streamers like CoCarnage left. And I only say CoCarnage because the Coalition was on my server. Well, when he left, his 1,500 player guild and his 100 player alt guild, the second guild, dropped down to about 100 players. Every single faction event, we were outnumbered because the server ratios were locked and we were fucked. We were absolutely fucked. Well, I was really glad when the game sort of rebalanced itself, dropped down to 100 player guilds because a lot of people quit. Because we were fucked as a guild. And I'm not saying that faction-based games are bad. I'm saying that if you're going to make a faction-based game, I think we can all agree that there is a laundry list of things that you need to focus on before you do a faction-based game. EVE Online got it right. Kind of. But everybody could pilot every ship, so it didn't really matter. World of Warcraft got it really wrong. I mean, all of you WoW players will admit this, if you're being honest. If you were on a PvP server, you were either on a server that was 95% Horde or 95% Alliance. The fact that developers said, we didn't expect everyone to just fly around with rockets in the deep desert. We thought it would be faction-based ground PvP. Told me they didn't think shit through. You forced every player to build a little bird with 0 collision damage, optimal rockets, and assumed we would all go out and fucking duel. Right, exactly. That's where the developers were. It was like, are you being for real right now? EVE is really one of a kind MMO. Streamer made this worse than WoW. Asmo killed Firlina with his transfer to Alliance back in the day. Yes. A good game developer needs to be cognizant of the impact of streamers on their product. But if you know my policy is this. There should never, ever, ever be server transfers in a PvP-based game. Ever. There should be exactly zero player transfers. 0 server transfers. The only time a player should be transferred is if for some odd reason that player is being the target of harassment. And then my response is, if a player is the target of harassment and it's legitimate harassment, that player shouldn't be transferred. The community management of that game should handle the harassment and should fucking send the harassing player into the bottom of the nether realm. Period. Which, as you can see now, to flip it back to Ashes, I have given direction to my community moderators to ratchet down on the game, and we might have a guild chat. Why? Why would you create a toxic corner of your Discord? Like, I know a lot of people think I'm crass. I can go without swearing. I'm not allowed to swear on some of the Discords I'm on. Not only am I not allowed to swear on some of the Discords I'm on, those Discords specifically have all my favorite cuss words on the blacklist. You can't even say them. It literally shakes the screen and eats the message. I am perfectly capable of not being vulgar. I can do it. The thing is that once I'm on that Discord for 10 or 15 minutes, I no longer even get the error message because your mentality shifts. If you want people to be well behaved, create a playground where they have to be well behaved. Don't expect people. Why the fuck is that 100%? That's fine. Don't expect that people will suddenly behave well. But it's like, unfortunately, I gotta pop out for a bit to train a new guy. Oh, have fun. Train away. What kills me, what kills my soul, is when we start making excuses and we don't, like, it begins with us. You notice that I don't allow sexism, racism, homophobia, or transphobia on anything I do. It's simply not allowed. It's not allowed a little bit. It's not allowed to touch. You make a statement that's quantifiable. Most men are stronger than most women. Yes, go. You don't even have to give me a citation. I have zero faith Intrepid's current mod team can handle that directive. You have total dipshits like Fupo running around who just want to RP as a furry the whole time. You're not wrong. I mean, you have Grey Pelt who makes a decision on the Reddit for the company, doesn't run it past the company, and then when the decision gets challenged, says, well, I did it based on statistical analysis, except since statistical analysis is my bread and fucking butter, when I threw the statistical analysis back at him that actually proved he was wrong, did they reverse the decision? No. Well, then guess what, man? Don't say that you make decisions based on statistical analysis. Say you make them out of reaching into your ass and smelling what comes out. And if you agree with it or not, that's the decision you make. Like the whole meat puppet thing. They were mad. They canceled my interview with Steven because I referred to Vacnar as a meat puppet. He is a fucking meat puppet. And he's okay with it. He's got somebody's hand up his ass working his mouth like a puppet. And that's fine. If he's getting paid enough money and he's happy with it, great. But don't turn around and say that you agree with the shit that you're being told to say, right? Because either you agree with the shit you're being told to say or you don't. You're a person. You cannot agree with it. It's okay. You're saying it because you're told to. We understand. We get it. It's a job. You're saying what you're told to say. Got it. But it's like, Steven's first response to Richie's video, calling Vacnar a meat puppet was the most polite way to describe that window licker. Steven's first response to Richie's video was, if there's racism on my Discord, report it. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just do a real quick check, just because I'm going to be a douchebag, because it's what I do, right? Douchebag. It's what's for dinner. Let me just say, online you currently have a community manager and 2 moderators. If you have a community manager and 2 moderators online right now, there shouldn't be any bullshitus on your Discord. But you know, the funny part is, maybe the fuck if you had taken care of it with tippy taps, you wouldn't be in a situation now where you feel the appropriate thing to do is to roll under the ring like Triple H and get a fucking sledgehammer. You deal with problems in tippy taps until you can't deal with the problem in a tippy tap, and then you reflect on number 1, you failed as a leader, and that's a big one. Like, I reflect on that quite often. I failed as a leader. How did I fail? How do I make sure I don't fail again? Right? But number 2, when you get told there's racism on your Discord, the appropriate answer isn't, well, if you report it, it'll get taken care of. The appropriate answer is, you know what? I'm gonna go look into this shit right fucking now. Like, Now, there are some people on that Discord. I forgot what the fuck his name is. Diggs, whatever the fuck his name was. I was making a fucking joke about the Lunar were gonna get whipped and pick my cotton. And he reported me for racism. Motherfucker, just because you're black and I said I'm gonna whip the Lunar to pick my cotton, hate to tell you, Egyptians were whipping people to pick the cotton long before they were fucking black Americans. Like, Jesus Christ, if you're gonna be offended, ask me what I mean by it. You're just making racist jokes. I'm making racist jokes? Really, you fucking blowhard? My godchildren are half white, half black. My daughter is married to a black guy. I don't give a shit. My other daughter is dating a black guy. I don't give a fuck what color they are. I don't give a fuck. How dare you? I'm making a fucking historical joke about a fictional fucking character. Dude, man, Karthos, you fucking reported the fucking death threats against me. And Roshan literally said what you reported wasn't a death threat. It was literally calling to kill me. Oh, that's not a death threat. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, the fuck is wrong with your company, man? But now because, and it's like I said in the video last week, which hardly anybody watched, but that's okay. Does it hit Steve in a certain sort of way now that 67 people on his Discord downvoted him? Because, yes, man, I've been trying to tell you, a hungry dog will eat you. Like, we know Steven watched fucking Game of Thrones, man. Ask Ramsay how those dogs treated him after he hadn't fed him for 7 days. If he was fucking lunch, man. You fucked with everybody. Last night's meltdown for Steven is... His meltdown last night, I think, is going to be the end of him. Because he went to a way to say people have bias. Okay. Because kill does mean dead, right? Yeah, Karthos reported it, and it's like, let's just kill Jalan. What if we kill him for no reason? And you know what's funny about that, Darb? That fucking comment is still on their Discord. I haven't said anything on that Discord in over 2 years. I've brought it up to the whole food chain. It's still fucking there. Because the person who said it was a member of one of the quote-unquote protected guilds. That's why nothing ever happened. Oh yeah, how many times have I been mentioned? I think if you search the word Jalan on their Discord, there's like 14,000 mentions of my name. 2 of them are from me. Now, there was a point in time, which I'll freely admit, that I had over 100,000 comments on that Discord. I had to get rid of all of them because in some of there was enough information in those posts I'd made that somebody was able to find out an awful lot of information about me. Yeah, neither one of us has said boo in almost 2 years, and yet we get talked about all the time. The fact that people message you like you're my fucking secretary absolutely fucking kills me. This motherfucker, whenever I stream Ashes, I need more donations and more subs and shit so I can pay Karthos. Like, he fucking gets messaged non-stop. I made this house, yeah. This is mine. I still don't like it. I'm just trying to get it done. I'm trying to get it pieced together so that I can tear down the other one so I can have maneuvering room. I'm not a big fan of the way this laid out. What type of content do I like most on this game? The content I love is coming back in about a week. When the lunar cycle comes in, I love the lunar cycle. That's why for me, my background for all my Once Human stuff is that lunar blood moon. I love the idea of waves of monsters. I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the absolute best ways to do a game. When you're trying to survive against multiple waves of enemies. It was the first time the Lunar event, when it came out earlier this year, was genuinely the first time I'd ever felt the overwhelming post-apocalyptic Lovecraftian horror. Is this like a vampire survival? No, this is unfortunately a game that is still trying to find its soul. It started off as a survival game. And unfortunately, too many people didn't like the survival aspects. So they nixed the survival aspects. So now we kind of have like an open world base builder, looter shooter with dungeons and world bosses. Yeah, New World started off as a survival game, which I thought was amazing. I loved the survival-esque full loot drop world build. It was like, I'm against loot drop in MMOs, but I'm not against loot drop in survival games. I thought the way New World was framed back in, what was it, 18 or 19 when we did the first testing, I thought it was very well framed. I thought it was a very strong concept. Unfortunately, many people didn't like the thought process behind losing anything. Some people are adamantly against ever losing anything. And New World as a survival game would still be relevant. I think so too. But you have people that will say, I never want to lose anything. Well, if you never want to lose anything, then what do you want the gameplay to look like? I don't know what I know. I'll know it when I see it. Okay, well, I'll know it when I see it doesn't work if you want somebody to build it. So what do you want that gameplay loop to look like? See, I want the gameplay loop to look very much like a survival game. The only reason what survival aspects did they get rid of? We used to have to deal with hunger and thirst a lot worse than we have it now. We used to have to deal with temperature a lot more than we have to deal with now. They got rid of whatchamacallit. They got rid of the temperature restrictions on the Way of Winter, which I thought was entirely stupid because the entire point of the scenario is the Way of Winter, like dealing with the cold. Yeah, we got rid of base destruction. We got rid of having to do the event at our base every week where the mobs come, because people literally complained that they didn't like losing their base because it meant that they had to spare electricity for guns and stuff. They took out hive bases while still in beta because reasons, whatever those reasons may be. People didn't like the hive base idea. I think the hive base idea was great. I think it would add a lot more back to the game. Having a central location that gets attacked every week would give you a reason to log in. But people are like, I don't want to lose my stuff. Fuck your stuff. That's the point of playing. Okay, I don't like the floating. It bothers me. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I like that. That works. Actually, can I... Is that gonna... Nope, it's in the way, isn't it? Yep. I'll leave it like this. Yeah, they neutered the thermal towers, which I think was a shame. Although I don't want to judge them too harshly because they did get a lot of good feedback about the thermal towers. So for all we know, they might be restoring them. I don't want to shit on them too much. They basically made another thing that they did that is dumb in my opinion. So I can drop max perked deviation generators. So I can drop you 8 deviation generators that each generate 42 watts of power. But I shouldn't be able to. If you want me to be able to give you generators that generate 42 watts of power, I should have to be in your hive. There's no point in having there's no point in having specific perks if you can just drop those things for people and leave. What do you need to... Okay, here's the thing. You don't have to... The weapons themselves, you don't need anything equipped with the weapons. So, you said, what specific set do you need to use with Abyssal Glance to bring out its power? There's no specific build that you need to bring out its power. To make it more powerful, you need 6-star armor pieces, because those have 6-star calibration 6 armor pieces. But like for my frost build, I run 4-piece sheltered, and I run the snow camo gloves, and then I run the lone wolf mask. So I have 10% more mag cap until I get my mods the way I want them, with mag cap on my mods. But yeah, you ultimately just want 6-star weapon that's max calibrated. Oh hey, look at that. I already did the video on it. Thanks guys. Is there much ass pain in hot swapping hives just to make the trade as a workaround? Well, here's the thing. My solution would be that if I'm not in your hive, any facilities made by me would be destroyed when I leave the hive. So, if I left the hive, all the generators that I built would be destroyed, which I think is how it should be. Because the point of having a hive is to have a group of people that are working together. The hive shouldn't magically benefit from a person who dropped it and left. If you want the hives to be meaningful. If you don't care about the hives being meaningful, then it doesn't fucking matter at all. You can say fuck it, right? You can say we don't want the hives to be meaningful. So I was running that same build, but it doesn't proc snow constructs from the snow gloves. Again, I can promise you that... Hold on. You're running Glance. Yeah, you're running Glance. Hitting enemies triggers Frost Vortex. Hitting non-meta units with Vortex. Yeah, there's nothing for it to proc. So, yes, on the Abyssal Glance, there is no reason to run the snow camo gloves. Because you don't... The snow camo gloves go with the silent, because the silent generates the ice crystals. If you ever need to know which piece of armor you should be using with a weapon, you go onto the weapon and you hit J, and it brings up when it's running on time. It'll tell you which key piece of gear goes with that weapon. So on the Glance, it's telling you to run the Stealth Walker hoodie. Frost Vortex collapses in the center and keeps pulling in enemies with 1.5 times the vortex's range. Now, if you want the ice spikes, you run the purple Frost Tactical Vest. Right. So you need to know what the weapon does, and then you need to know how it procs. So yeah, the weapon you're using doesn't proc. No problem. So now he knows. And as G.I. Joe taught me when I was a kid, knowing is half the battle. Okay. Goes right there for right now. My other water pump. Are those water pumps full? Oh, fuck, they are. Okay. I love the fact that they put the selectable option. If I understand correctly, the higher armor you have, then the higher side damage of your weapon. Correct. You higher blueprint, and I have a video on this on my YouTube that'll break it all down. But the higher the damage, I'm sorry, not the higher the damage. The higher the star rating of the blueprint. So like this is 4-star, psi intensity 106, psi intensity 92. So number 1 is the star rating of the blueprint. And then you need to calibrate all of your items just to calibration 5. Or sorry, calibration 6. Don't know why the fuck that's not 6. Yeah, you calibrate them all to 6. Ah. Okay, now you guys go around the side. Now, what irritates me is that after a year of playing this game, one of the things I had said a year ago was stop ending the scenarios until you can create permanent servers. Because in beta, I said 6 weeks is too short. Like, people don't want to play for 6 weeks. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with a seasonal game. But there is something wrong with a 6 week season. It's just not long enough. And I get what might have been the problem. I understand that companies need to make money. And I more than most other gamers, streamers, will always side with a company when it comes to the idea of they have to make money. Now, I think Starry Studios is dumb as shit for how they make their money. Like, I will be the first person to say, I get you need to make money, but you don't need to make money this way. You don't need to sell $30 cosmetics. Do you ever run Frost main weapon and then Boom Boom as a secondary? I don't mix elements, no, because your mod in your mask is where a good portion of your damage comes from. Most people will run the bullseye, pistol, shotgun, or bingo to apply bullseye. And then we have that new submachine gun coming, or assault rifle coming for bullseye next week. There's not a lot of value in running split elemental. Now, if you have somebody in your group that's running, already running bullseye, like I used to run bullseye for my group, well, then you can do a couple of things. You can run 2 frost weapons, especially if you want to run one that does one thing, one that does another. But yeah, because your mask is specifically modded to your elemental type, it makes more sense to run the bullseye than anything else. Now, what would be really nice is if they would look at all of the key items they've made and understand that some of the key items, like, for example, Rail took a 10-point hit, 10% damage hit to run, so he clusters everything up. But then, because everything clusters up, I do more damage per bullet because I don't waste bullets bouncing off of the floor and the walls. So some of the stuff that they do, I definitely see that they're intending for people to work as a team, which is good. We need more of that. At the same time, the game needs to be able to be played solo, because that's what we've had up to this junction. And I think, and I know a lot of gamers disagree with me, at the point we're at right now, there needs to be a solo arc in every game. It needs to be there. I don't see how games survive in 2025 without being able to be played solo. And if people have a disagreement to that, I'd love to hear it, because I just don't see how, like, and I'm not shitting on Ashes of Creation in particular here. I'm saying any game. I don't see how any game survives if it doesn't have a single player arc. That doesn't mean every single thing needs to be soloable. I don't agree with going all the way over like Final Fantasy did. Final Fantasy, you can play pretty much 90% of the game single player, because you can do every dungeon with your trust. You never need to party with other people, which is bad because the AI can basically clear all the fights for you if you follow the simple rule of just don't die. And I'm not trying to be funny. As long as you don't die, because they can't res you. If you die, that's it. But Final Fantasy 14 now, the AI can do the whole fight for you. It's not bad for the people who are socially awkward, who are embarrassed and don't want to ask for help, because they get to learn the fight. They can learn the fight through doing it once with the AI, and then be squared away with knowing the content. But I don't necessarily think it's a great idea to do that. What's up, chillin'? Is everything off of here? Yes. Everything out of here. Oh, nope. That would have sucked. A bad fucking day. What the oh, I was about to say, what in the fuck? I was like, why are you oh, wait. Oh yeah, I forgot they were... Son of a bitch. Hold on. Fine, we'll do it this way. Screw off, game. Anti-gravity foundations are a bit of an annoyance. But new scenarios. I know, I don't want to go to a new scenario. Thanks for asking. I don't want to. I want to actually enjoy the fact that there's a permanent server that I can use for a second. I still don't like it. I moved everything over one block. Nope, I'd have to move I'd have to put on a new front, and I'd have to move everything over 2 blocks. I find it backwards that I can't solo Ravenous Hunter on hard mode, but I can fight Shadow Beast on hard mode. Like, how is it easier to fight that dog that's naturally higher level than the first boss? Well, because the Ravenous Hunter's problem is the gun. The gun doesn't take elemental damage. So therein lies the big problem. Because the gun doesn't take elemental damage, you can't... People that use elemental struggle killing the gun and getting the gun off of him. Once the gun's off of him, it's easier. I would, but today is a my motor control is really shitty today. Again, right now it sucks. Every day is like 90 degrees during the day, and then it's dropping down to the 50s at night, and my body doesn't know what to do with the pain. Ashes of Creation had a mass exodus of players for some reason. No, man, I'm sorry, but there's not a some reason with why Ashes of Creation had a mass exodus of players. You would think that a company that spends so much time up my ass for how I do my content would tell their CEO not to behave just like me. Look, man, when you talk at your players, not to your players, like, you're gonna run into a really big problem. Corn syrup is my friend. Corn syrup for what? But no, Intrepid Studios is, they said something about favoritism of an exploiting guild. Okay, so this is gonna sound really weird because people always get mad at me when I don't jump on the bandwagon. I have been shown no convincing evidence that Polar exploited. I have been given nothing that I can say based on this Polar exploited. The only people Lunar Sanity, I use beer. The only people who could tell us if Polar exploited were Intrepid Studios. They're the only people who can literally go into a character log and say they exploited. There were many people over the years in ArcAge who would say, I'm exploiting, especially when ancestral levels opened up. They'd be like, oh my god, Jay is exploiting. Look at how fast he's getting ancestral levels. Yeah. Just because I know how to fucking level doesn't mean I'm exploiting. Just because the day or the 3 days before the new ancestral level patch went in, I planted all XP buff flowers, and the very first thing I did when the servers came up was ran to the library. I'll show you in 1 second. That doesn't mean I'm exploiting. It means I know the game better than you. And some people don't like hearing that. The mods I use... That's my weapon mod. And then it's my mask mod. Warborn Above Ashes. Lou, how the fuck are you gonna tell me about a game that launches tomorrow, the day before it launches? What am I supposed? It's 24 hours, man. What am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? I fucking wrote your name down, not the fucking name of the game. My entire build, Red Hulk, is on my YouTube channel. The only build video I have is my bounce build. I do want to get back to building videos, but you know I'm a slacker. I love the bounce. I loved bounce in beta, and then they nerfed the shit out of it, and so at launch I went with the bingo, and I was so fucking happy at the end of last year when they brought back the bounce, because I love a weapon that's just fucking crazy. It's definitely heavy PvP focused. Great. So you give me a fucking game that launches in a day and I gotta learn a whole thing about a whole game? What kind of friend are you? Fucking fuck's sake. I gotta find a guild. Is it what kind? I'll take a look at it here in a second. I'm done being the guild leader. My rule, don't play games when they first come out. Sometimes good rule. I'm just bored as shit. This guy's like, there's a new game coming out. So I gotta be like, fuck, Rail, let's go. Let's do all our content tonight.
Dance.
First person shooter, persistent world MMO. Reaper. Well, Reaper might get looked at on the 29th, but that's my birthday, and then the day after is Tactics. If I'm gonna twist your arm. See, the nice part is I already got the video for tomorrow loaded. It's done. The thumbnail's done. The description's done. Everything is done. So that's nice. Also not being sick all the time. My fucking blood levels are finally where they're supposed to be after 4 years. The doctor was like, this is the last thing we can try to fix this problem. If this doesn't work, then you're just gonna fucking die. And I was like, well, at least you're fucking honest. shit.
Dance.
Hey, dog, where the fuck did you go, dog? Like, I don't need you to kill the weak ass thing in the back. I need you to get this thing. Become a vampire? I wish, man. Speaking of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is November. I wish to God that they had finished the World of Darkness MMO. But I will say this, if you like the World of Darkness and you own Crusader Kings, the World of Darkness mod is, oh my god, good. Like, seriously, like, what the fuck is this good? That mod is unreal. What are people calling? I don't know your number. I live by a simple rule. If I don't know your number, I don't answer the phone. I'm not expecting a call. I don't answer it. Arc Raiders is on the 30th. That other game that somebody mentioned, Where Winds Meet, I'm going to be looking into that a little bit more. You have a very high white blood cell count? Yeah. Fucking... Man, I'm telling you, there's something in the air or something in the water or just something trying to kill us all. Kill us all slowly. It's not fun. Yeah, immune system too strong. Immune system trying to kill you. The next piece after this is I go to... I gotta go and then they gotta start seeing if I have an autoimmune disease. Kind of weird, like, I wasn't ever sick until I got out of the military. I swear, the military just pumps you full of fucking drugs. Gotta keep this one healthy, this one's useful. I do not like the rounded top box or the stone roof. I do not like it. It just doesn't look good. Have I done a genetic test? I've done some, but not. That's the next thing I need to go to, because I got sick when I was 40. I got sick when I was 40 and I've just never gotten healthy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not trying to like say anything about the COVID vaccine being bad for you, but I will say correlation, not causation, but I was never this sick before I got the COVID vaccine. Ever since I've gotten the COVID vaccine, I've just been sick as a fucking dog. I got the vaccine, or I got the COVID shot, and then I got unhealthy. And then I never got healthy again. Oh yeah, you can do corn syrup. I do beer, so I don't deal with it for 30 minutes. I don't know. I went and they gave me a shot. Like, to be honest, I have no idea which one they gave me, because I didn't really give a shit. One off. At the time, I only got the vaccine because they were talking about that. I only got the vaccine because they were talking about, in order to get on airplanes, you were going to have the vaccine. Like, at one point when they were talking about reinstituting mass travel, one of the requirements was going to be that you had your vaccine. And I was like, well, shit, I better just get it because I got traveling to do. And then they never went that route, and I regret getting it. Almost Halloween, right? We have to address that. Oh, you know what we want to do? We want to, hold on. We want to do this. Oh, shit. Can't do it there. Can we do it on this side of the rock? Yeah, we should be able to. We want to do a double because we want to have a little space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that one. There we go. Yeah, we need, if first of all, I was rereading one of those papers that said it's really not 2025, that it's really 1725. That was an interesting paper where the people's belief is that the church just basically wanted to make things work. Well, because there's no real documentable historical anything that those years existed. Like when you look at it, the evidence is really light that we had 600 years. No. Jesus was born. That's not that's not where they skip ahead 300 years. Jesus was born and everything. But what they said is that the church, in order to make the Dark Ages look worse, just instead of it being 300 years, they made it 600 years. Because how would the common person know anyway? And I'm thinking to myself, of all the shit that the fucking church could have done, like, I hope they didn't. I really hope they didn't. Because we got enough problems, right? We got enough problems right now. Like, stop fucking with the timeline. Yeah, we're in a real life MMO. But yeah, it was the person's argument is compelling. I don't believe that they can prove it astrologically. Unless astrology is just all made up, like math and science. That's the dig to it. But I think we need to get back on track with the original Enlightenment. We need to get back to, like, actually saying, what can we do? Like, we should be at a point where people don't suffer from afflictions. Like, let's solve some shit. Let's cure some shit, shall we? Like, let's actually cure some stuff. Yeah, they got to keep you on the meds long term. It sucks that we don't have better. Yeah, there's no money in curing. You're absolutely right. There's no money in the cure. There's only money in the treatment. You cure a person, they walk out. If they can't walk out because they're relying on your medicine, you've got them for life. You're not wrong. I wish you were, but you're not. But JFK Jr. is right. About some things, yes. See, the problem is it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot, and I mean a lot of effort, to be wrong about everything all the time. If they thought about it, honest mechanics are the busiest. Well, I mean, yeah, honest doctors would be the busiest. My doctor is really cool. He doesn't allow the hospital to impanel too many patients onto him. He just won't allow it. If they try to put too many patients on his impanelment, he simply pushes back and says, I can't have this many patients because I can't give good quality care. My doctor doesn't give a shit though. My doctor also doesn't do that nonsense that hospitals do, and they've started doing lately, where they're like, the hospital will be like, oh, you can only get one thing treated per appointment. My doctor literally will say, what else? When you go into my doctor's office and you tell him something's going on, my doctor doesn't want to see you 5 times in a month. My doctor literally will say, what else? Like, what else is wrong with you? What else do we need to fix? He's really cool like that. I went in the one time and it was like 6 things. I mean, about how functional cures like herpes, they've got Valtrex, or even HIV as functional cure. Can we at least get that for cancer? You're right. Can we at least get that for cancer? Absolutely. Can we at least get up to that? Fucking dead fucking deer in the foundation. No, we're gonna take that one out. I don't like that. We're gonna take that out. It's a lot more efficient to spend 45 minutes addressing 3 to 4 items than wasting 4 30-minute time slots addressing them individually. Oh yeah, absolutely. And my doctor was like, he was getting pissed with all the fucking bullshit with the insurance company. So he was like, look, I can't send you for the tests I want to send you for because the insurance company said no. I said, okay. So after he had gone through the insurance company's bullshit, he finally said, you know what? This guy is gone. We need to just do all the tests at this point because there's something wrong with him. And of course they won't. There's new guns coming next week on the 24th. New guns coming next week. What, an AoE bullseye? That don't suck, man. Bullseye needs an AoE long range. The only AoE a bullseye can do right now is the shotgun. The other one I'm not really impressed with. What they need is a new style of gun. Yeah, another frost rifle. Oh my god, I agree with you there. Apparently I'm done with Once Human today. Yeah. They need a new style of gun. But I've racked my brain and I can't really come up with No, I'm not playing Ashes. I was waiting to see if the game would reload. I can't come up with a... Like, unfortunately, I think they've covered all the damage types. They have bounce, which hits multiple targets. They have shrapnel, which hits the target multiple times. They have bullseye, which debuffs the mob and it takes more damage. They have fast gunner that you proc and you start shooting faster. They have fortress warfare that when you proc, you are in a circle and the people in the circle do more damage or get more defense depending on how you build yourself out. And then you have frost. Yeah, then you have frost, burn, shock, and blast. And some of those have damage over time elemental. That I think is the big burn and frost is continuous damage. That I think right there is the issue. They've got it all. I don't see that there's when I've looked at all the keywords, I don't see anything else that they could do. Yeah, frost is continuous damage. Burn is continuous damage. Bomber is instant damage and AoE. Those special ammo effect. You could do a mind control gun, but in order to do a mind control gun, you would have to do minions. Health transfer wouldn't be appropriate. A vampire ammo or gun could be a new type of heal 8% damage. They have that. They have that on the bullseye mod. Now, what I'll say is, because there's kind of a tank armor set. Yeah, they have implosion through frost vortex. Because there's kind of a tank set. If they would expand on... I don't even know the fucking icon for it. I don't use this shit set. That's not it. Yes, it is. You could do knockback. You could do that. Yeah, they have to make the AI way more reactive for minions to be viable. Absolutely. But if they built on the Stormweaver set of the idea of being a tank, then you could work on the idea of being health transfer and slowly walk in to having classes. But it would be hard to do. It would be a hard walk to do classes. Hey, we could do that. That actually will work. Of the line. Put you over here. There. Now I can sit and look out at the world when I'm AFK. I don't even know. Do I have a better Halloween? I have so many fucking cosmetics. I don't even know if I have a better Halloween one. I think I do, don't I? No, I guess I really don't have a better Halloween one. That's not really more Halloween. Make hybrid guns that combine multiple effects for new outcomes. Unfortunately, as cool of an idea as that is, that would get too That would get too powerful. Have I talked to different doctors? I'm stuck where I can only go to the doctors that they send me to. That unfortunately is part of the problem. When you have federal health insurance, you get to go to the doctors that they say you're allowed to go to. And until they say you're allowed to go, you can't go there. It does suck. It is what it is. All right, at least I got the farm move today. They can make elemental bounce. Yeah, you can make elemental bounce, but again, elemental bounce would get really, really powerful. You would then have to have gear sets that have psi intensity and ones that don't, and then there would have to be no psi intensity on, or half psi intensity on the ones that increase crit. Otherwise, you would just be creating monstrosities that do too much damage. And as it is right now, the game is already too easy. The game is... The game is just too... There's no challenge in this game. I mean, when you can clear every piece of content solo, there's not much left to do. And that part of their issue was that they screwed up launch, so then they had to combine everybody's alts. People play the game for cosmetics. Not as many as I think the developers would like, unfortunately. Because right now they're changing up the PvP is dead because, unfortunately, in this particular game, PvP is dead because, in a lot of part, because of the players. The players are responsible for being, like, somebody that I knew was going into the game to play Raid Zone. First thing that happened is they went onto their server, they built a base, and then a guy just sat up there and killed them all day. And okay, well, if that's how you design your game, the person that I brought to the game, they were bringing in 30 or 40 players, but they went first to kind of see how the game was. After they realized how the game was, they said, you know what, never mind. So on the Reddit, I see so much hacks on PvP, people be airwalking, right? And if you have, unfortunately, I know what people are going to say, and they're going to say, well, if you just banned all the cheaters. Well, the other side of that coin is, you know what would stop people from cheating? Is if you didn't allow all these hacks, cheats, and exploits to exist. If the developers did their job and they took that shit out of the game, then we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. And that's not a wrong answer. If you allow people to cheat, right? If you allow people to cheat, you're going to get in trouble long-term with your players. You're going to have long-term problems with your players. But if you ban everybody, some of this stuff is hard to fix, that's true, but other problems is other bits that the cheaters are using aren't hard to do. And that's where unfortunately, like every conversation that involves people start to say, oh, well, the solution is so easy. Okay, well, then why don't you write the solution for them? I will never say the solution is easy. I will say the solution we need to implement is easy. But I won't say the actual implementation is easy, because it's not my job to write implementations. Also free, so they make new accounts. There you go. There's the crux of the problem. Because the game is free to play, it is really difficult to keep shitbirds out of it, because you want to keep your game free to play, but when a game is free to play, it's the same problem Arcage had. You just have no way to get rid of cheaters when they can come right back. And then uninformed people start to talk about, oh, well, you can do IP bans. Really? Because I have a new IP address every day. Like, I don't have a static. I have a different one every single day. Not by choice. It's just how my ISP does it. You could do hardware bans. Do you know how hard it is to do a meaningful hardware ban? Because it's very difficult, and here's how I can prove. No, you can't do CPU ID bans, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't know shit about computers, and it takes me less than 10 minutes to get around one of those. So what are you going to do to the people who actually write the fucking guides to do that shit? Somebody once said, well, why don't you ban the Windows ID? Okay. I have a whole fucking file drawer full of CD keys. If I really want to cheat in your game, I'll just create a virtual machine with a unique Windows ID key. You ban it, I just delete the virtual machine and create a new one. Or I just apply a new Windows key to that account, to that VM. Now what? It doesn't solve the problem. Use NVIDIA GeForce. Again, it doesn't. How does that solve your problem? The answer is it doesn't. See, what you're doing right now is what I tell people when it comes to CPI. You're spending all your time thinking about solutions. You're not really thinking about the problem. Because it's easier to throw out. Oh yeah, to get around it? Absolutely. To get around it, absolutely. There's so many ways to get around it. So the problem becomes, the only way to fix it is to design game systems that can't be easily exploited. And then people are like, well, there's natural flaws in Unreal Engine. There's natural flaws. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, what you said, Salty Bread, boils down to the problem is the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Coffee? Thank you. Yeah, the problem is the juice isn't worth the squeeze. If it takes you 5,000 man-hours to solve an exploit, that's probably not going to be a good return on investment. You need to think about, how do we design a system that's not easily exploitable? Because that's where the win is. For example, Arcage. They tried forever to stop the land baron problem. Well, you're never going to stop the land baron problem. Because you allowed alts to make tax certs. So I can, within 2 weeks, level up my alt making nothing but tax certs, and then my alt pays for all of my land. Well, you didn't think about the system. When you designed the entire system, you didn't think about, how is this going to be exploited? You simply said, we're going to put this in, and you put no thought into the devil's advocate position. How does this bite us in the ass? If you're not thinking about how this bites us in the ass, yeah, unless it's a competitive game or your studio's massive, it generally is just a waste of time to prevent specific cheats. It doesn't cost the cheaters anything, unfortunately. Because if you're gonna cost the cheaters, when the cheaters get banned, they just charge back. And you have to have a dedicated team of people who challenge every chargeback. I remember when Tryon Worlds said, we're just so you know, when we go into Unchained, or not Unchained, when we go into this fresh start, we're not going to allow chargebacks. Oh, really? 402 people filed chargebacks using the same form letter I wrote. 400 got approved. The only 2 people that didn't get approved were people that paid for their purchases directly with their credit union debit card, which, if you know the difference between PayPal purchaser protection and your credit union only sees if a transaction went through. They don't give a shit about the quality of the delivery. That's not their job. Your bank's job is not the quality you got. That's why you never connect your debit card directly to a video game company. Always put it through PayPal. That way, if the quality sucks, then you go to PayPal and you say, their quality sucks. And PayPal's like, okay. For a smaller studio, it's probably just more cost effective to have one guy running around banning people. Not really, though. Yeah, you might get some innocent bans, but what you also get is it's good. I understand the theory behind why Square Enix and Blizzard want to track the gold and why they want to do mass bans. I get it. I understand their reasoning. The problem is that they don't ever fix the damage to the economy. And because they don't fix the damage to the economy, they're not fixing the real problem. Players don't give a shit if other people are botting. If you really listen to the player complaint, they don't give a shit that the person's botting. They give a shit about how the botting impacts their ability to play the game. Like that right there is an example of mob responsiveness. I could have probably taken another 5 or 6 shots at him before he started moving. Yeah, I see that I'm skipping frames. It's this wonderful German farming town that I live in. The internet is amazing. I'm on a split system. Let me... Yeah, it's rendering lag. I don't know why. No, that ain't happening. That's absolutely not happening. I already have to play at 60 frames a second for the capture card. I don't know why it did that. It seems to have stopped itself. Let me reset and see if it sorts itself out. No, it's not. Why are you... Because I bumped it down a while ago. Because ashes, holy shit. Like, I'm not trying to say that Ashes is a terrible game as far as performance wise. Yeah, it's. I have to take a. Oh, why is it fucking doing that? Now we got to troubleshoot. But it shouldn't be that problem. Shouldn't have any of those things going on. I know it's not your typical day, but Charlotte city leaders announced 20 additional off-duty police officers will be working security on the light rail system to increase presence. That's the extent of what they've done about the stabbing after today. Well, you got to realize they don't have the people to solve it. And I know this sucks. But they need time to get new police officers trained. There's just no way. There's just absolutely no way for them to have enough officers to be everywhere. And I'm not trying to make excuses for places, but I think that we've reached, and as I've said, it's not a political day, but I'm happy to take the question. I think the big issue becomes people don't know how their government works. They have the Dunning-Kruger effect, and so they think that it should be easy to fix. But what they don't realize is they don't know enough about the problem to know how to fix it. Yeah, I run a politics show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that's why you saw Darb say, I know it's not your politics day. They throw stuff up. Sometimes I take it that day. Sometimes I copy and paste it into the next day. I don't know why the fuck I'm losing frames to rendering lag on a 2 PC setup. Let me make sure that everything is set. Yeah, I can't change the video encoder while I'm live. My profile's on high. Quality. Yeah, it's on P3. Single pass. Try that. Shouldn't be. Yeah, because I'm not doing 10. I mean, I'm doing 1080. Should be able to do that. I'm not. My output is 1080, right? Let me check. I'm not on. What the fuck? Oh, I was about to say, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm on 1080. I'm not streaming in 1440 today. So, I appreciate the follow. Yeah, I don't know why I'm dropping 2% of my frames. Wonder. Let me do this. Maybe that's the problem. There is a growing area rapidly, especially over the past 20 years. Lots of incoming people, but it's a slow process to amount for the population increase. Yeah, that's the big problem. Good morning to you too. People don't understand that everything in life is going to be responsive. Things aren't going to be proactive. Things are going to be responsive. You can't fix every problem right away. Sometimes you're going to have issues that you can't resolve. It sucks that somebody got stabbed on a train. I'm not trying to make light of the fact that somebody got stabbed on a train. But we also have to recognize that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything they can do to fix it. There's always going to be shitty people in the world. That's why we have a reactive system, not a solve everything right away system. We don't necessarily have any means to fix every problem right off the bat. What the fuck is going on? I'm not even moving, and I'm frame, and it's not a memory leak. Well, let me check. It shouldn't be, because it's a 2 PC setup. I don't have any fucking idea why it's misbehaving. The only thing that I'm worried about is maybe my graphics card at 5 years old and fucking 70,000 hours of use is dying. Doesn't matter, because I'm on a 2 PC setup. It doesn't matter because I'm on a 2 PC setup. What I do on the gaming computer is absolutely no value to the streaming computer, because the 4080 machine that the game is on is being captured by a capture card. The capture card doesn't have to process any of that. Yeah, what the fuck? It's like nothing is being used at more than 50%. I guess I'm gonna be going through and resetting up my OBS again. Yeah, 17% CPU, 46% memory, 45% graphics card. There's no reason why I'm skipping frames. I'm gonna have to go through and find whatever is pissing off OBS. Yeah. I probably have something loaded in OBS that OBS doesn't like. That's what happened when I ran the Ashes 101 show. I inevitably had so many video files preloaded. Take a real quick look up here. Let me reset. Blurb, extra life goal, chat on screen, and none of that. The only thing that could have been was the camera blur. Yeah, because I'm dropping frames on this screen as well. For fuck's sake. I'll have to... Let me do this. The only thing... I don't have any browser sources open. I mean, I do. I guess I have my alerts and stuff. That shouldn't be it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to take the time after the show today and figure out what specifically in OBS is pissing it off. Because I can't lower the frames. Yeah, I have no idea why it's doing that. Because I've already lowered the settings about as low as I can send them. It's like encoding overload, use a faster encoder. Well, let me change the fucking encoder while I'm live, and I'll do that. Yeah. No idea. I haven't had this problem with this game before. But yeah, I'm clearly skipping pretty frequently. There's nothing else I can change while I'm live. Let me do. Because I can't change video. I can't change my output. Well, no, my 1920 by 1080. I couldn't change that anyway. I don't have. Oh shit! Do I have source record on? No, that's not on. Do I have? I don't have replay buffer on either. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I wondered. Hold on. Fuck's sake! I wonder, was there a graphics card update? Nope. I have no idea what the fuck its problem is today. It doesn't like me today. Pain in my ass. Oh. Now that's something. Yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to look at. And unfortunately, yeah. Consider turning down video settings. I can't. Oh, I wonder if. Hold on. It's probably gonna do it again anyway. Yeah. Because I'm not rescaling. I have no idea why it's. Constant. Yeah. I get it. You're upset. You're angry, and I have no idea why. Because I can't change that while I'm live. Nor would I want to. The only other thing I can think of is creating a new scene altogether. But yeah, I have no idea why it's misbehaving today. Let me check this real quick. Let me see if it's the actual. Let me see if it's the capture card. Yeah, it has to be. I need to check to see if my capture card has a driver update. Yeah, because there's no problem there. See, I hate technology. I absolutely hate technology. That's why I went to a 2 PC setup, so I didn't have this problem. Oh, let me check. Can I update this? Can I even check this while I'm live? We're gonna see how much I can break while I'm still live and not actually lose my stream. The other problem I had with this the other day is multi-streaming, which may have to go as well. If I want to keep multi-streaming, I may have to do restream. Anyway, different topic. While I'm seeing if this is if there's a problem here. A lot of the content creators for Once Human got upset because they found out their rate of pay is getting dropped. I feel bad for them because lots of them have been making content for a year, but they didn't seem to think about how that symbiotic relationship with the developer works. One guy was mad because he thought he was going to make $4,500 for YouTube Shorts and or TikToks, and he got $500 because their new payment schedule. Now, in fairness to him, I think it's bullshit that they changed the payment schedule in the middle of a cycle. I think that if you're going to change your payment cycle, you change your payment cycle at the beginning of the cycle. You say, okay, guys, just to let you know, for this next month, these are going to be your new numbers. And the truth of the matter is, you shouldn't be changing. You should be changing the payment cycle kind of like this. It's June, and there's July, there's August, and there's September. The content you're making in June, we're not going to pay you for until September because it has to have time to cook. It has to have time to bake. It has to have time to get views. One of the things I always hate is when the 11th of the or the 10th of the month is on a Friday. No, they don't open themselves to a fraud lawsuit at all by doing this because it's what's in the contract. See, many people, and that's what a lot of people threw out. Like, well, this was fraud. No, it wasn't. Because you're on a month-to-month contract where you've agreed to be paid backwards on an unknown, really, we don't have a contract till the top of the month. We don't have a contract till we submit our work. And that's where a lot of them didn't understand really what boat we're in. We don't have a contract for the work until we submit it. You're in a content creator program where you don't know the incentives. And in some regards, I think that's a problem, right? Because you should know what you're going to be getting paid. At the same time, you can't get mad because you didn't get paid what you want when they never told you what they're going to pay you in the first place. And you can't get mad that you've made all this money for all these months, and now a new company comes in and they say, well, you know, we're a new company and we're not honoring that. It's a bad spot to be in. Right? It's a bad spot to be in. You don't want to be in that spot because you want to know what you're getting paid if you're being paid by the view. Now, there's a lot of people that are mad because the content creator program for them, what they did was they set the threshold at viewership. I'm sorry, subscribership, followership. Followership is an absolutely terrible metric. You should not be using followership as your metric. But if you are, you're going to lose a lot of people. But I said to the one guy, I was like, you have 2,000 subscribers and your content is getting 10, 20, 40,000 views. So why aren't you working on converting those viewers into followers? And that's the hard part, right? Therein is the really, 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 really hard part. How do you get people to follow? How do you get people to subscribe? How do you get people to pay you? And he wants to blame, like, and no offense, I'm not trying to be dismissive of the guy, but you have a channel that has 500,000 views on it. You have one video that has over 40,000 views. That's not a short. And you use DMCA music in all your videos, so they can't grab that and use it as promotional material. But you're mad that you're not making the money that you think you should be making. Like, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be condescending. But he doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it.